welcome to Echoes of Home. This is Kelly.
And I'm Erin.
And we're here today on season 2 to talk about design.
Which is super exciting. We're both feeling kind of giddy about it. Very excited.
Yeah, and that's what Abode does. That's the basis and the soul of Abode. And we've talked about all of these concepts, but we haven't talked about design yet.
Nothing even close to it, really.
No, we've rambled a little here and there, but we have not hit design. So we're calling this episode Designing from Soul, Intuition, Energy, and the Art of Home. So, just a quick check-in. How are you, Erin?
Doing really good. Feeling good. I'm feeling grateful for the summer and grateful for my daughter being in camp this week.
Fuck yeah.
I just had it was just 4th of July this past weekend, and she went out of town with her dad, so it's pretty rare for me to have alone time like that. It felt so good. I basically spent all of Saturday in ceremony with myself and in my body. There was a point of time, I don't know how long, I was just literally rolling around on my living room floor with a tennis ball, releasing all this stuck energy in my body and doing all this somatic work. And there was unexpected tears, a lot of them. It felt really sacred and like a really sacred reset for my nervous system.
Amazing.
Yeah, and just the alone time of breathing and just recognizing what I need versus kind of always going with what someone else needs was really helpful and beautiful. And I'm really excited because I'm getting ready to launch this new business out into the world. So I'm getting there little by little.
So given that you hi Hank, can you lay down? Hank the Tank. Given that you just had this impromptu sanctuary or this impromptu ceremony in your own sanctuary.
Yes.
What does that tell you, or how is that connected to what you believe design should be, or your theory of how you like to cultivate space and containers? Because I know for both of us, we're connected on some of the basis of our design theory and what's most important to us and how we approach design.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think it speaks to my feelings and thoughts on design for sure, because the most important thing to me is having enough space and creating a space to truly, authentically, whether it's live in your purpose or just show up as you are in daily life and how you need to express yourself. But it's making space for connection, for what's most sacred, for our ability to show up and kind of move through the world, and in my home to just have it feel good. And I definitely on Sunday was I'm gonna need to vacuum over there after rolling on the floor, but just to be able to push a coffee table easily out of the way, or I turned my coffee table into an altar space for me that day, and was able to gather specific items around the house to do that. So having things accessible, flexible in my space, and really bring in these components of what I needed in this particular instance to really drop in is super important to me. So the accessibility of the sacred in my spaces, I see my spaces as a temple. I try to honor my space in that way. And then, we talk about this all the time, how that idea of space translates to all different physical and metaphysical forms.
Because really what you're doing is cultivating an energy.
Yeah.
A sacred space energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that comes from within me. And then, but I definitely appreciate and have learned to create that in my external space as well.
The container for sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I mean, I know for me, my own personal space is so sacred, is so important to my everyday life, my capacity to move through the world, out in the world, through myself, inward, and show up for other people in my life. And I don't know what I would do without it.
So let's talk about design and how that factors into sacred space.
Yeah, for me, I mean, early on, I think it was just, I mean, we've hit on this before. That was the only thing I had control of growing up was my room, my space. And I would attune to the energetics in that space and intuitively create a container for my safety. And that has transformed into something much bigger and to bigger spaces and bigger entities in the world since then. So I think for me, it's a lot about intuition and feeling of energetics. Sense. It's all about, it's not just the senses in the way we speak about it plainly in our language. It's an attunement to how an energetic container feels.
Absolutely. I just had this flash. So I had the experience of living in 2 households as a kid.
Yeah.
I was with my dad every other weekend and one night a week. And when I was 11, he remarried my stepmom, Kathy, and she had 3 girls. And we moved into this house, and there was 4 bedrooms upstairs. And I was so excited to share a bedroom with my stepsister. But I think what I picked up on was like reading the energetics, because at first I was thinking, well, the energetics really come from within. Like, what do we want to feel? What do we want to experience? Or how do we express ourselves in this space? Like, what do I want to see? Yeah. Which is fun to think about, like what it was like when I was a kid and what's still similar and what's not. But energetically, the spaces were so different. The home where my mom was, which was my primary home, the energetics were so different there, and there was such a freedom and accessibility to beautiful things. And my mom always did such a great job of that. But yeah, it was interesting trying to recreate like my own space at my dad's, because there was a lot more limitations. They didn't allow us full expression, or how that expression translated was very different. So I just find that really interesting. It just never, I mean, we did things that, like, we put our 2 twin mattresses together and then put a futon on top. Like, we wanted this like big platform bed, and we would do like crazy magazine collages on the wall. And I remember at one point there was like a phone hanging from the wall from, like, she was obsessed with the movie Speed. It had something to do with that. So we tried, but like, I just remember, like, this furniture is so ugly. Like, there's nothing I could do to make this better. And just, like, the textures, I think I got 1 pair of sheets, I got to, like, pick the color, and they're, like, the shittiest pair of sheets. I just hated them.
And it sounds to me that from what I've heard from you and knowing your mom a little, too, that did your creative process start with the recognition of beauty?
Oh yeah, that's huge for me.
And it's interesting when I'm hearing you tell that story about your mom and that connection to beauty. I'm thinking about my mother and I don't know. I'm not going to reflect on my mother's design style there. I have a lot of triggers there.
But she's an artist.
But that's where I'm going. She's an artist. She cultivated the artist in me. Not cultivated, but she encouraged it. And there was an open container for that. And it's something, painting pottery, things like that, making things, crafting, we would do together.
Love that.
And she really did teach me how to shop. which is a big part of design.
Sure is.
In curating.
Yes.
So while my style and aesthetic has evolved, I can see the source of it in my mother.
Yeah. My mom can't pass, my mom taught me, like, when you find something that speaks to your soul that you feel is beautiful, get it. And I think that functionality piece, is big for me. But with my dad, it was just like, no, you don't just buy whatever, or you buy what you can afford. And my stepmom's style was much more this like eclectic collection of things. None of it really went together, but she's an artist. And so she saw the beauty in it. I never did, and it never made sense to me. So it was hard.
But I think when you're going through that shopping process, there's this that is an acquired skill. And so that was
absolutely.
I don't know if you felt like you had to acquire that, or that was given to you by the exposure of your mother.
So I get easily overwhelmed with shopping.
Okay.
And so what happens for me is like I either shop and just take it all in.
Like splurge?
No, I shop to more view.
Okay.
And take it all in.
Yeah.
And not focus on purchasing. Or I shop for something specific. But I can't imagine, like, for a design project, like going into a place and then discerning like what's going to work, what's not. And I've seen your process a little bit. And obviously, there's things that aren't going to work and you could always return them. But that is very overwhelming for me. I more so am a collector and I curate, and I like weave pieces in and out, or just get rid of stuff. But it's hard to do like a whole thing at once for me.
Do you feel like you like to curate a collection, like one style that you're constantly acquiring for your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
in your spaces?
And that's just like the practice of when I see beauty, being open to like, oh, this works. But I can also see beauty and be like, I love that. That is so that would never work in my space, but I can appreciate it.
Because I think your mother does something similar. She seems, I don't know, from what I've seen in the short time I've known her, she has a similar design, and then she kind of sticks with that.
Yeah, I mean, she's evolved for sure. Like,
okay.
I can remember.
So her style has evolved.
Yes, in the early '90s, it was like all Southwestern, like Santa Fe.
Still got some of that.
Yeah, she does for sure. But it's definitely evolved into the Mo Rockin' style.
Is that what she calls it?
Well, there's
Mo. That's right. That's her nickname, Mo.
Well,
let's not talk too much about your mother.
I know.
I want to talk about you and your style. But I'm curious to how that's connected with our mothers, I guess.
Yeah, it's all curated as a reflection of my life and my evolution, and I tend to hold on to pieces that work for me. Like when I'm someone who, when I look at, for example, moving into a new space, I envision all of what I have and how it will work. Like,
yeah,
I have the dining room table that I had as a child.
Yeah.
I can't just let that go. Like, so when I was looking for a new house, I was like, okay. Or when I was living in an apartment, I was like, okay, that will fit there. Like, I can make that work. Echoes of home.
There's lots of them. So if money weren't an object,
yeah,
you suddenly had $100 million, you were building your dream home. Would you build it, knowing you, what it sounds like is that you would build it around those things and then buy new things?
Yeah. So
in the same aesthetic.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. So I think a big part of my design formula has always been, I really am drawn to unique spaces. And for whatever reason, my childhood bedroom was a loft, and it was all built-in shelves on the back wall with 3 skylights, a little bed, and it was open to the rest of the house. So that was from the age of like 6 to probably 12. And it was just a small, very unique space. And that is what I'm really drawn to. I'm drawn to angles. I'm drawn to making the most out of something small. I mean, even my home now, which is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, it's not very large. It's 1,200 square feet. And it's just like, I love it. And I love, like, I've always had a passion and been drawn to barns because of the angles of the roof and just like
Angles are interesting for you.
Yeah, big time. Like, I hate square boxes. There's nothing that drives me more than like a square or a rectangular room. I'm like, I don't really know what to do in here.
I love seeing how we keep going back to our childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
And how that was the formulation of the beginning of our design process and how it's impacted our preferences. Similarly, but opposite. My childhood bedroom, the walls were all angles. I didn't have one, I think maybe I had one straight wall, but there was a window on it and it had fucking plantation shutters. Another straight wall had this stupid, which I see my parents did in all their other homes. It was my fucking dad. This built-in, but it wasn't like floor to ceiling built-in. It was just like, boom, like a box put on the wall. And then all the other walls were those angled half walls. So I had like a little mini wall and then a big dormer. And that was cool when I had like my NSYNC posters looking over me and like whatever else. But I felt so smothered by those angles. And now I won't. I just can't.
Yeah.
Same, the exterior of my family home was brick, but the brick was a little bit more than a third of the way up, and then the roof came down really low, and it was angle. And I fucking couldn't stand the architecture of that home. It was like more roof than wall.
Oh, weird.
And it was, you know, a nice house, whatever, for that time period, but it was never my style, and it has impacted every decision that I've made in the choices of homes that I've bought to remodel or design.
Interesting.
It's really interesting how our childhood impacts us so much now.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I guess that makes sense because it impacts everything else in our life.
Yeah.
But in our creative process, our design style, how we curate pieces.
Definitely.
Is there a connection to that in why you feel like you're curating a lifetime collection? Something associated with your childhood that, not to get into the psychology of design, but I guess we were going to hit on that a little.
Yeah. Well, there's mostly books and pictures. But, you know, I talked about my dining room table. You know, there's like a church pew that I manifested that I was living in this gorgeous carriage house in Denver, Colorado, off of Colfax Avenue, which was there was just a whole wall of windows. And I was like, I put a dining room table in front of them, and I was like, I need a bench behind it. And so that church pew that I manifested, I like just came out of nowhere for free. I picked it up. We customized it to work for the space. I don't want to ever, like, it's such a piece to me. And so there's these, you know, and I think about these like large gold candlesticks that I have, or just a bench that I have that, like, it came to me in such a way that was totally aligned that I was like, they're staple pieces.
So for you, it seems there's a connection, like you're cultivating containers of story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think I'm cultivating, it's interesting. I don't quite know how to say it, but like I'm cultivating my own story, and I'm using these curated pieces to tell it.
Because it seems that when you walk into your own space, the energetics that you're really impacted by is being kind of held by, I know you've got like certain light fixtures that you've carried from home to home.
And they're a reflection of me.
And your table and the bench. And sure, there's some things that you change in and out, but there are some things that you really, like that window that you have over your dining room table. The window with the mirror.
Yeah. Mirrors are big in my spaces. Jen used to always make fun of me. She's like, you have a mirror in every room.
I fucking hate when people make that comment. People used to fucking say that to me too, especially at Bliss.
I mean, like, I think it's so essential. When I walk into a room, I look for a mirror, and it's just, when it's not there, it's like missing. I mean, it refracts light, it spreads light. It's such a part of just a space to me. I love it.
Yeah, and don't hate on a girl trying to make do with the money that she has. Like, I know, especially early in my cultivating containers, like, mirrors were the only thing I could fucking afford. Because a big mirror that's like, whatever it is, 36 by 36, might have been $100 at Home Goods, or
so
$49.
Good. Yeah.
But a piece of art or something that's that size is going to cost 5-6 times that.
And art is, regardless of like affordability or whatever, I think art is hard because as your spaces shift and change and develop, they don't always work with it.
I know.
It feels like a very stagnant.
Unless you want to have like this really eclectic space that starts to feel really mixed up.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm recognizing listening to you is very different in our process. Maybe it's because I did start that way, acquiring stories and sort of this mix of my life in my spaces. But then I don't know, maybe it was a traumatic event and selling Bliss where I sold my collection of, like, I did have my childhood dining table. I did have this couch that we had worked so hard to be able to pay for. And it was like my first real leather couch.
Yeah.
I had my wedding dishes, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
All this stuff, things that had been gifted, things that his mother gave us. And I sold it as a part of this kit and caboodle, which is now what I'm doing in my work. Every time I sell a house, my house, even the houses that I don't live in, there's still typically things that were mine in those homes, and I'm selling them turnkey. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost like relinquishing, letting go of this phase of life and then starting anew. And it is sort of like how I come to this place and I go, I've brought this to its fullest expression. I'm done. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, if an artist, I like to take it back to a painter. Like, does a painter paint 10 different collections and mix them all up in a room? No, they're most likely going to have each collection in a room because they're cohesive and they're their own story. Mm-hmm. But would they eventually get tired of them when they're creating them? And do they have a problem letting go of them? Or is it easy to let go of? I mean, I think artists, creators go either way. Mm-hmm. And I guess I've put my toe in both of those.
I love that. Yeah, it's very different.
It is very different. And I am trying to incorporate a little bit more of story. I mean, even in this space that we're in now, as I look around, there's still so much story because I've had a home goods store. I have leftovers from the home goods store. I have leftovers from another project. I have rejects from design clients that were from the outlets that I couldn't return. Mm-hmm. And so somehow there is a story.
And I think also, like, you refine your style, right? Like, this really worked. Aren't these chairs from another house? Or something, you had something similar? And
and I, from like a budget standpoint, I'm trying to make them work. I like them. I really didn't want to have anything but beige in this space, and now I've been having like these leather colors I'm still at odds with and fighting with them, and not sure if I'm going to surrender to their presence or do away with them, which I do. I get very
I do that too.
I watch things, just like watching us on this podcast and watching this setting.
Yeah.
And watching how the light changes in here throughout the year. This is my first year in this house. It's almost a year in August. And there's still so much work to be done. And there are parts of it that I watch and I ruminate and I watch and I ruminate, and I'm cultivating. Is this what I want? Is this what it should be? Is this what feels good? Can I settle with this? Is it good enough? Is it da-da-da-da-da? All these thoughts. And either I will let it land and accept it, or eventually that ruminating will become so big and great that I fucking freak out and do away with it.
I can relate to that. I have observed that you have allowed yourself in this home to be a little bit more in process.
Which has been very hard for me.
Yeah.
And that's not really in the past what I've done for clients or done for work. It feels very uncomfortable to allow things to be in process. And I'm trying to make a little more space for that.
That's great.
And a little more space for real life. And I think that maybe is the process of becoming a mother.
Well, that's
and
what
the chaos.
Was just coming through for me, like the becoming.
The lack of control.
Yeah, and the transformation, and just the process of it all. Like, it's, you and I are similar, and we're most comfortable with like from a start to an end, and just like, let's get it done, let's get there, do, go. This is the ultimate vision. We don't stop until we get there. But I think as we're learning in midlife, it's really in the becoming and the process.
I think motherhood deeply impacted my design process. You know, I would, if it was a client's house, if it was my house, I could stay up till 3 a.m. I could work all day, all night, not stop. I could lose sleep because I wasn't already at a sleep debt. I could go nuts and do things in tiny little amounts of time, 7 days a week, you know, however many hours a day. Frank and I did this at the retreat center, building, designing, remodels. We had deadlines, crazy timelines.
Well, there's a huge adrenaline thing that happens for me when I'm in a space and I'm working on a project. I'm just, I don't need food, water. Going to the bathroom is like a hindrance. I'm like, oh, I gotta get in there.
No, I don't stop to pee.
Yeah.
It was like, I used to do it even at the store when I would do a flip. I'd tell the employees, like, I'm not being rude. Don't take offense. I'm going to put on fucking Drake and I'm going to blast it. Nobody talk to me. Don't interrupt me. Just let me go into like this vortex that is like it's like a tornado. And it's just like an energetic spinning around the space.
Yep.
And that's what I would do at installs or in my own space. And I don't have the space in my life to do that to the same degree anymore.
Yeah, well, I think for me, I also have to think about, as I want to offer more of a consulting design or there's a design element to my consulting. It's like working with clients and their psychology of the space. I mean, I just was really super grateful to have spent, I think, about 8 hours over at my brother's where I think my mom came over once and I was able to set some boundaries, but just have 8 hours to myself and I tornadoed it for sure. Yeah. And like afterwards I was like smoking a cigarette and like almost drove off the road. I was like, I hadn't drank anything all day. It was like, whoa, Erin. But,
dude, we totally have that in common. That's what happens to me.
That's not the energy that I can like bring in a professional way, and also where I think my flow and my gift is, and what I really see in a space is functionality. And what's functional for me doesn't necessarily matter. Like I have an intuition about it, but if I'm designing a space for functionality for a client, it has to work for them. And it matters how they feel in that space. And it matters what their purpose for the space is, not what I think. So I have to feel into that and kind of get out of my own way. So learning to be a little bit more receptive. But however, when it comes to like cleaning my house on a Sunday, I'm like fucking tornado. Like, oh, you gotta do this. And you know, my hair's all wild and I'm like in sweats and a tank top sweating. And I'm just, you know, I'm trying to teach my daughter how to take care of her space. But it really takes a concerted effort to not just go like,
oh my gosh,
tornado on her. So
well, and I think that's part of it is adulting and midlife. We almost have to schedule our creative process, and sometimes that doesn't line up where we want it to be, and that happens a lot working with clients too.
Yeah.
And essentially cultivating our containers of boundaries when working with clients of this is our process, this is how we work, and this is how I can best serve you. I spend a lot of time, you know, doing that, and I know most designers will really relate to that nonstop process of constantly reevaluating your boundaries and setting new ones and your structure and finding like your own trusting your intuition and trusting yourself and finding your own worth in that, because
absolutely
that's a lot of what comes into question when you're working with clients and with yourself for that matter.
Yeah, but those are probably my favorite spaces to organize and design, are like really high points of function in homes and spaces, businesses, but you know, like a pantry. I'm like, yes, let me get after that.
I love that.
You know, like
it's so tactile.
Yeah, I got to do my friend's kitchen before he moved into a brand new space.
Yeah.
So no drawer had ever been touched, and it was just like
the best.
Yeah, and every house he had before that didn't even have a pantry. He just had shelves and stuff. So that was so much fun to do.
Well, I think the devil's in the details when it comes to design. And I know it's the same with like the turnkey houses or Airbnbs and stuff that I've done. When you take that time and space initially and you have empty drawers, say in a kitchen, or empty shelves in a pantry, and really sit there and think about what the space needs and how can I organize this drawer based off of these are all the different size drawers that I have, what kind of drawer organizers, what color, making everything cohesive, making everything fit well, making sure things are overcrowded. That's a huge, I mean, that little detail of what things feel like on the inside of a drawer that you can't even see outside of the drawer impact the energetics of the space throughout the home.
Absolutely. And that's something that, you know, I think I've grown a lot in my intuition, because I can remember when I purchased my first house, I just had my mom and my sister-in-law unpack my kitchen stuff and put it away, because I was like, I don't know where I want things.
Yeah.
But now being a mom and someone who cooks 3 meals a day, I'm like, oh, I can walk into pretty much any space and I'm like, this is what you want, you know, close to your sink. This is what you want close to your oven.
There's a flow.
Yeah, I have an understanding of like what questions to ask as far as how often do they cook, who's in the kitchen, who's doing the cooking, all of that.
Yeah.
So that has definitely grown for sure.
I love that. I mean, that leads perfectly into feng shui. The concepts that we're talking about, I'm not a feng shui expert. I've done a little bit of research. I definitely have done, I don't know how it's pronounced, but I pronounce it in my reality. Bagua map is spelled B-A-G-U-A. Fuck if I know how you're supposed to say that. Which is connected to the directions of your space. What rooms are in what direction of your space, and what cultivates good energy in these areas of your life. And I've become very attuned to that when purchasing homes, what is where and what direction it is, because I have found there really can be some negative energy that comes along with things not feeling in flow. And this is what I knew to be intuition before. And now it is kind of verified by feng shui.
Absolutely.
And what we're talking about, like clutter in a pantry, clutter in a drawer, these are all representations of how those individuals are feeling in their own self. You can learn a lot about someone in their business space, their personal space, where they're at in their life. And that is one of the reasons that, like, the state of my house, even right now, the amount of shit that's everywhere, to me, it's a lot. Like, if you guys could see a pan of this room, there's a pile of stuff, Ryan stuff I moved.
There's 4 items, including a laptop
on a
and
table,
a mug.
which is very hard. The center face on that table is not styled.
No, it's not.
It's because I have a dog and a toddler, and they're just all constantly leaving random objects everywhere. And then
I know, I do too. But
picking up.
But the thing is you have to have a catch-all.
And I have those, like that bowl, and it constantly gets overflowing.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to filter it for the whole family.
My dining room table is my catch-all, and then when you walk in, my laundry area is my catch-all too.
But it's a reflection of the stage of life that I am, where I'm learning to surrender to the chaos.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, chaos has been such a big theme throughout my artistic career and my design career. I go back to early paintings, and I didn't even really fucking know what chaos was yet, but I thought I did. And it would be like contemplating chaos would be the title, or organized chaos. And it would be sort of organizing this mess, which is really, in a lot of ways, what design is.
I love that.
We're organizing our mess in a way that feels good.
That makes sense.
And these containers that we live and breathe in.
Absolutely.
For the highest and best use, whatever it is.
I think that's what I look for in, as well, in spaces. Like, I'll start where it's the messiest, the most cluttered, or the dirtiest.
It needs the most attention, and it's having the biggest energetic impact on the space.
And it's where you can find that space to, like, make it work better, be in more flow. Because typically the clutter is because, you know, it's being misused, or there's another space that's being overused, and you can, like, you know, find the openings.
Yeah, I mean, it's the little things. I don't go as far with feng shui, like to go into red ribbons on drains and things.
I just saw something about that, but it's funny because from the same Instagram post was like, put red tape around your drains, and then always keep your bathroom door closed.
Or the toilet bowl closed.
And the toilet top closed. But it was funny because I have that bathroom right when you walk in my house, which is off of my office as well.
Have you done a Bagua map?
Well, now I have both doors closed, and I always have the toilet seat closed, but I didn't put the red tape on the drain.
So I would love to see, that's your energetic intuition of that space.
Yeah.
And I would love to see on the Feng Shui Bagua map what area of your home is.
Yeah.
That is, it could be money and finance, it could be family, it could be children.
Yeah.
And if there's a toilet in a certain section of the house, if that toilet is open, that means all that energy is going out and leaving. And that's why feng shui principles are to keep it closed, keep the door closed.
Right.
Unless there's an area in your life that you really do want to move the energy out.
Well, it's
and
right
down.
off my office.
Yeah.
So that's my hub. That's my spot. That's where I develop my wealth and business and prosperity. So I don't really, that fucking bathroom door stayed closed.
I mean, I will say some of it starts to feel a little like woo-woo or voodoo.
Well, there's also, the thing that I don't like is how much can you really do about it? Like, I'm not moving my toilet in my house.
Totally freaked the fuck out and sold my last house. I was also done with that project, Shatterbrook. I think there's like a little before and after post on the website about it. The energetics in that house were driving me insane. I'm very sensitive. And all the areas, even like the architecture of the home, there was a big cutout in the back, which was the area of my life that I was really suffering in. And I just knew some of the energetics of the house weren't right. And there was this window over my bed.
Yeah.
And the driveway and the noise behind it.
Came right into your bedroom.
Yes, and the exhaust from Ryan's diesel truck. The interjects in that home were enraging for me.
So that's where I really appreciate feng shui and would love to study it more, but I'm much more personally of the mindset of you work with what you have.
Totally.
And you make it work for you. I've personally never purchased or sold a house based on the feng shui of it. It is the energetics for sure.
The energetics, yeah.
And I also really get off on like the transformation of spaces.
Totally.
So you had asked me earlier, like if there was no budget and I could build and design a house. I mean, I have certain rooms in my mind, but a lot of it is based off of things that I've seen that I've liked. I really love renovations and transformation. It's much harder for me to start from scratch. I don't know. I don't want to like put myself down, but that's not how my brain functions.
I feel that. And that is kind of my next step is I'm going to build the idea that I've been telling myself is that I'm going to build my dream home. Aside from the spec houses and business, I don't know how I feel about that. There are just energetics of certain homes, architecture of certain homes, certain eras of homes that really click for me. And I just know like that one, that has potential. I can bring that to its highest expression. It's not that we can't create something from the ground up and from scratch. But it is a completely different set creative process.
Yes.
And it almost requires less creativity. And so infusing the soul, which we talked about like being a part of the episode, Nate, infusing the soul is the challenge with new construction. Because I see a lot of professional designers who are traditionally trained designers, even here locally in Nashville. And I feel like that's what's missing, is the soul. A space that is so perfectly designed that it looks like, Courtyard Marriott, room by room. It's like that commercial design aesthetic that goes in. I don't think that there's a place for that in residential. And I think even in commercial, we should be bringing more soul, more realism, more juxtaposition, and I think that is what makes spaces different. And there is a major trend popping up in the design world right now talking about, what do they call it? Well, there's slow design.
Okay.
Which means you're gathering things slowly, sort of like your process, where it's not all from one tiny place in time. Because I have designed, say, Airbnbs, whatever before. I was very limited to what I had access to in that moment. And that macrocosm or microcosm, however you want to look at it, looks like that time and place.
Yeah.
And so people who are hiring designers are really wanting to incorporate more of a slow design process, because I think that's what brings the soul.
Absolutely. What else do you think brings soul into spaces? From a design perspective?
To mix. I think imperfection. Because I think that's what's the difference with what you see with these traditionally trained designers is it's so balanced that it almost looks like AI and it loses the soul. It's too perfect. I think you need a little bit of grit and like juxtaposition and creativity, things that a human brain and a human artist can compile together that a computer can't creatively do.
Absolutely.
And I think there is a difference between being, not all interior designers are artists, and not all architects are artists, and most builders are definitely not artists. And that's also a big problem with new construction, development, and also kind of bringing the artisan back to the trades. You know, it's like, even say in this house, we have lots of really interesting tile from all over the world, and finding subs that have the capacity or interest or desire to approach their work with an artist mindset,
right,
versus just, this is what I do,
cookie
and this
cutter.
is how I do it, and these are the schluters that I use, which I fucking hate. And if you go to Italy or France and look at how stonework and tile has been done for, what is it?
Absolutely.
Many years.
Yeah.
They're artists.
Absolutely.
Like the papers that I wrote in art history in school were about stone carvers and stonework. Like, this was an artist's path. Mm-hmm. And we've lost that in our building and development of spaces.
For sure. I couldn't agree more. And I'm definitely resonate more with the slow design. Listen, there's nothing beautiful than like more beautiful or cleaner and clearer than a brand new build, for sure. But when it just feels like everything came from a box store,
yeah,
and or there's like, it's lacking in quality, and that's just been so common for our generation too. Like these McMansions that they just throw up, and they're not going to be here very long.
Well, especially with all this flooding that we're having. Don't even get me started. But, I went into a space, I don't know, do I want to say this? It's 12:12. I went into a space the other day that I did really fast. Mm-hmm. I did postpartum. Nobody go and investigate what I'm talking about. And I went through this process going back in this space of like, this is my internal dialogue. What the fuck was I thinking? I had no business doing this so postpartum. Like, I was out of my fucking mind. And I'm looking around at it and I'm like, oh my God, like, I am embarrassed. Like, nobody can see this. And there was a lot of stuff in there. There was a lot of stuff in there that was cheap. Mm-hmm. And not cheap by my choice, but cheap by my client's choice and budget limitations and size of home, of how it could be filled. And so I went through this whole process, doubting myself, questioning myself. Then I started to go back and look at the photos.
Of the before.
Not the before.
The photos.
But the professional photos afterward. And I was like, oh, thank God. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Because they had taken and moved most things, as people tend to do, even when they hire a designer, if they can't help themselves, and it starts to lose everything.
Right.
Like an arrangement, say, of 3 candles that's on an end table. Some brains just can't handle that.
Right.
And they'll just like line it up in a line and push it back. And so there was stuff like that all over the house, and I'm like, oh my God. And there was this one picture right at the entryway that I had 2 pictures in my like almost signature thing I do, where I lean pictures up somewhere, and there's typically 2 or 3 of
layered,
them.
stacked,
layered in this fun way. It's very inspired by Carrie Bradshaw. And I didn't remember that I did that until I looked at the photo. Well, they had taken all of those pictures, and these ceilings in this place are so high, and just took one of them and put it on center of the entry table and put it way up in the middle of the wall alone, and it was way too small for that, and I was just
couldn't handle it.
Oh my God, I can't. And then I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do that. Holy shit, I was really doubting myself. This is not how I left this place. I thought, because when I was in that journey, I thought, Well, I guess I've really grown a lot in these last few years in my design style and aesthetic, which I have, and I was able to reflect on that going through that space. But what a journey that was, one, to witness what people do to your art, basically, and then face that, and then wonder what the fuck was wrong with me, thinking for a minute that I would have done that. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love so much about like how sacred I hold my own personal space, because like no one's coming in and messing with it.
Oh, I know.
Or offering
it becomes
critique.
a control thing, and people still offer critique when
Yes.
they come into your house.
Yeah.
Which is like one of the most sensitive things.
Yes. My battleground with my mother, I mean, she knows
God.
better with my house, although she doesn't, but it's my brother's house, because with his wife gone, it's just like, it's just different.
You guys-
I mean, it's interesting. The space is beautiful. It's, you know, he built the home. It's all timber frame. But I feel like I'm willing to accept and allow the fact that my brother's attempting to claim the space as his own and what works for him in his masculine way while raising two daughters in the house.
Yeah.
And my mom is not like, she's like, nope, we need throw pillows, we need, you know, accessories, and that's really challenging. So, but you know, I can appreciate it. I also bought him new throw pillows.
That's a whole other podcast episode, is when there's a single man and what women do, especially family women, like to try and swoop in and stake claim and control.
Well, there was
like
one
this
question
container
that we had for each other. I think it was around like maybe one of our most favorite spaces we've redone, or like we've designed, and it reminded me of my boyfriend that I dated in my mid-20s, and he was like my first boyfriend, who was like, he was a bit older and he had a house, and it was a gorgeous house. I mean, it had radiant floor heating on this like beautifully done cement, and it was just so, it was a nice house. And I fucking went to town on that place. I mean, I can remember, talk about tornado. I remember one weekend, and I love that this is like a common thing, like when women find like non-human strength to move furniture by themselves.
Fuck yeah.
He had this huge antique wardrobe. It was like 3 separate pieces. It was the ugliest fucking thing. I hated it. But I was like, one weekend, I like found a way to get it on a rug, and I moved that fucking thing. Yeah. Oh my God.
Been there. I broke this table over here doing that, and I put like holes in the wall. Oh my God.
But you know where I started? I started in the closet beneath the stairs, because it was just a place where he threw things. And
so
I was
that
like,
really is a part of your process.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like that space that's been like nagging me. And it also kind of reminds me of when I had the store, especially shopping and curating through a wholesale market where you have 3 high-rise buildings with 13 floors each, and walking and shopping at that many mini stores over 3 days.
That would be so hard for me.
It was so hard, but I found my way and found my own process. And what I reflected on, what I ended up doing, if anyone's trying to start a boutique, my favorite one was Vegas, is because it was so organized. Mm-hmm. The way it was organized by, you know, categories of, you know, linens, accessories, whatever. There were sections of floors in each building, so you knew what category of things you were shopping for. And then I would walk everything. And one day, wouldn't buy anything.
I love that.
Then I would go home and lay in bed at night and think about like what was like really popping up in my memory. And those were sort of like the foundational pieces. And then I would go back and I would hit the biggest ones that stood out to me the next day, and so on and so forth. And that really worked. And a vision would start to come together.
Okay.
That way. And really that's what I've ended up doing when I'm doing not a slow install, but a fast install. It's the same thing. I've canvassed the market online. I canvassed the market in physical life, in real life. And then I start with key pieces.
Can I ask what that looks like in Asheville? Because sometimes, having lived in other parts of the country, I feel a little like Asheville's kind of limited.
It is limited, and it's a lot more online than I would like.
Okay.
But we do have the outlets, which make a huge impact. But
you'll go and you'll just like scope it out and not buy anything at first and then come back?
At first, when I'm like conjuring up to get ready for a project, I'm just like cycling through.
Okay.
And I'm also working on a vision like in the back of my head. And then destiny starts to come involved once the vision has started to be created. And that's what I love about the outlet process. It's fucking magic, because the exact thing that you need shows up. And then from there is a lot of surrender that started to be in my creative process. Like, see, this fucking guest room, this house that I just can't get it to set. Anytime I'm trying to force my vision on a space, eventually it will start refusing everything I'm trying to impede on the space. And eventually I have to fucking surrender and listen to what it's telling me.
I love that.
And allow it to take the energy that it wants to be, the color, the vibe. And this, most of the time, it's not what I want.
Interesting.
Just like these chairs and this couch and these ottomans, this kitchen is what I want other than clutter. But I've had to learn to submit to the physical spaces. Like, I'm not in control.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that that's a part of your process. It's serving you.
Before we wrap up, hot question. What trend do you wish people would stop doing?
What trend? I'm not sure. What's for you? I know you have one.
I'll have a vent.
Yeah.
I have plenty of them.
I know.
Gray.
I knew you were going to say that. I totally realized I painted my kitchen cabinets gray.
But they don't pull the same. And the fact that you juxtapose it with all the wood and the white walls, it's not like these millennial homes. It's like, people are still doing it too. Like, it's so 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And they're like, gray couch, gray walls, gray tile, gray. It is so 12 years ago.
Never noticed it before.
I can't. It's like, I see it in, builders and spec houses and renovations and what people are what people are doing. And I'm also really tired of white subway tile, just plain white subway tile.
Yeah.
I get there's a timeless nature to it.
Sure.
But you got to really bring the antique and the timeless, like the modern vintage.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, have a little more creativity.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this guy, I think I wrote a blog post on it, who said to me, he's a builder. I don't remember which one it was in Asheville. If it was you, hello.
He's probably not listening.
I was talking in the sauna house, and I don't remember which house I was remodeling, maybe the last one. And he was like, oh, you're a designer and you're remodeling and decorating your house. You're gonna do some weird shit, right?
Yeah. And
that has been like the most inspiring and validating experience to go on. Is like, what a freedom, especially when you've had to work with other people, to just be able to do a wild and crazy and fun expression.
100%.
So
that was like, for me, I've always wanted to do some kind of like statement wallpaper.
Yeah.
And
you did it in your laundry room.
Yeah. So when you walk into my house, you actually walk into the side door, and it's just, that's the laundry area. There's no moving it or doing anything else about it. And it was so ugly. This place was a rental for 25 years. And entries are specifically like that's where you welcome people into your home. It's a major feng shui thing. It's a major feng shui thing. It's a major energetic thing for me. It's like when so I just had this opportunity to create this moment of like, when you walk into my home, you're not just, you don't even notice that you're walking into my laundry area. Yeah. You get immediately a taste of who I am. Yeah. And so I found this beautiful, like, it has like a dark blue background, and it's all these planets and stars, and it's flowers, and it's really cool. And then I paired it with like a custom butcher block countertop, which I think your mom gifted me that.
I don't remember.
She gifted me.
Oh, yeah.
She gifted me that. I think it was a gift certificate at Lowe's. And then I did some shelving up there, and it's functional. I mean, the shelving is storage, but it shows like, it's gardening materials, and it's my laundry soap, and it's my pots that I'm not using, and it's my cookbooks, and it's some beautiful linens for storage that I also want to have on display. And then it's my daughter's watercolor set that we can easily grab and use. So I love that spot. It's like a full expression. It's like, and then it's also my catch-all. So I love that. But trends that I don't know, like, I think a lot of it speaks to our generation and kind of like what we've seen. I mean,
I think can I answer your question for you?
Yeah, please.
I think you have a trigger here. Well, it's like for you, it's like the cheap, like, home goods, Target. I can visualize it. I don't know if I can describe it, but it's like this set of like modern art where it's like some arches, and it's white, and there's like a splash, and then there's like very commercialized, soulless, cheap objects that it's like mass production consumerism home decor.
Yeah, I mean,
that looks like it is.
That looks like it is. Yeah. I don't like anything that feels rushed. So when I think about like the McMansions and people who, like, I don't know, want to look like they have a lot of money, but they really don't.
Flashy.
Well, they really.
That's like Teresa Giudice, her house.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of that in New Jersey growing up, and like carpeted floors, and not Teresa Giudice. I don't mind her.
Really?
Jen, we
love the housewives.
The one from Turkey.
Oh, hers was. Oh, yeah.
And the house was just
trying
so
to look rich,
big, and then she went to China to get all like the light fixtures, and it's just like. None of it like feels like you're raising however many kids she has in this home. Like
that house was
it felt like a fucking gymnasium with like marble floors and like cheap chandeliers.
Those upholstered chairs that were 6 feet tall with like shiny upholstery on it, like gaudy.
And obviously, like the thing is that I try to appreciate, styles that are different than mine for sure. But again, it all comes back to how it feels and the authenticity of it. So when things aren't authentic and it's just like for show and doesn't have functionality, that's where I'm like, no, I just can't. And I really do love older homes with character. But I like clean lines too. So it's like I go back and forth. Soul.
Anything without soul, you hate.
Yeah, anything that's soulless, I'm not fucking with, including people.
That's right. And here we are. Love this episode. I can't
fun.
wait for the next one. All right. Bye.
Bye.